Did you hear about the time-traveling cow? It got lost in the pasture. Happy Friday, my friends. Welcome to the stream. I hope you are well. I hope your weekend is getting off to a good start. We've got two games tonight. I decided to start off with an impromptu Battletoads D-Rust. I've been thinking about Battletoads for a while. I haven't played it in a long time. I'm not confident that I'll be able to beat it, but I want to give it a try and hopefully, refamiliarize myself with it, keep the skills sharp. I want to keep this game in a zone where I can be pretty confident I can pick it up and beat it every time. I can't even be mad at that joke. Welcome in. Dead Zergling is first in chat tonight, my friends. Waited a whole 5 seconds to send that message. I waited for the stream to start. Well done. You didn't disqualify yourself. I've got absolutely no problem with people who are so enthusiastic that they want to show up and chat before the stream begins. Don't get me wrong. But if we're calling out first in chat, I think it's in spirit of the competition to wait for the starting gun to fire. A whole 5 seconds. It's almost a year. Lucid Jelly, welcome in as well. Thank you for the coffee. Thank you for being here with us. And I guess we'll go ahead and get started. But it's Battletoads at first. I'm going to try and beat this game. And then we're moving over to the C64, Commodore 64 Mini. And it's going to be Time Tunnel all the way down for the rest of the night. A just wild, wild ride of a game. Time Tunnel is. So I'm not sure. I don't remember when the last time I played this was. Decided to take a break from omelets tonight, Zergling says. Had a quarter of a duck and half a pound of bacon instead. I've mentioned a few times, I think. I've never actually had duck myself. I would be intrigued to try it, though. Hopefully it was very good. So I'm really concerned that I will have lost I've lost my touch on the turbo tunnel. I think every other obstacle I'm gonna be able to make it through. Probably. But the time tunnel is a wild card. Oh no! Oh no! No, this has never happened before! I've never had all three of those guys show up at once like that. Alright, well we can't die on the first stage. The reset sword is gonna see some use tonight. I've never had all three of those guys appear at the same time. Not that I recall, anyway. That was a stunningly terrible situation. Duck was fantastic. The price for eating out is out of control. Spent $40 for orange chicken and half a Chinese fried duck. Yeah, that's very steep. The mighty sword of resets. Jelly and I had lunch meat sandwiches once again, keeping it simple. I had 2 sandwiches. I think one was roast beef and one was turkey. One of them was bird meat, and the bird meat one tasted a little strange. Whatever it was, like, flavored or seasoned with or whatever it was different from what I was expecting, I guess, because it tasted odd to me. But I still ate it, happily. Also had some sliced tomatoes. I don't know if I've ever been hit by that. Goodness, this is a night of firsts. Oh, I had a bowl of sliced tomatoes, and I had some Colby pepper jack cheese, which I don't think I've ever had before. I think I've had pepper jack, but I've had Colby jack, but I haven't had Colby pepper jack. It was good though. Oh, I'm so bad at juggling these birds. That's a skill you need too if you're gonna play Battletoads. Learn to juggle the birds, it's vital. These extra 1-ups when you're learning to run through the game. Oh no, I hit it too high and it despawned. Turn around! Oh, I was so scared he was gonna cut my line. No. I was trying not to scroll the screen any more than necessary because I wanted to maximize the time that I had to focus on the individual birds. No! That last kick where you do the big boot and knock the guy off the screen, if you have him planted into the ground too close to the edge, that last kick, you can send yourself off the platform and you can lose a life trying to take that enemy out. It's horrible. Nice. Turbo Tunnel first try. Let's go. I think the rest of your fan base is too used to you starting 3 hours later. Surprised just me and Jelly so far. Hey, I'm grateful to have you here. Thank you, Zergling. We've got a, might have a couple lurkers as well, who I'm also grateful for. But yeah, messing around with the start time, like you know, it is what it is. Like I can't expect a whole lot of people to necessarily, you know, be here at a moment's notice, right? Oh, that's horrible. That cost me a whole life. Oh, I am very upset. Especially since I was like midway through attacking that guy. Forgot about that guy entirely. If he had wiped me out, would have been all my fault. thought there was one of those things there, and then I didn't see it. Oh my goodness. So I usually don't let the snowballs remove this door for me. I usually eliminate that snowman and then use the ice cube on the door, but... Oh. I am indeed a bit rusty. Let's not let the turbo tunnel performance fool us. There's definitely rust. I don't... I'm mad. I'm mad about that. Oh no. That was horrible. Ice, ice, baby. I don't remember the best way to do this. It's scary. Depending on when others join the stream, I may have gotten the practice in and look like a pro. Well, I only plan to do one pass through the game, hopefully. I mean, if I use up all my continues and game over, I might do a second run, but I was hoping to just go through it once and beat it, because it takes about an hour. But if I get really far and game over and have to restart, then absolutely I have an opportunity to look like a pro. No, I missed the one-up. Unless I do really bad on the second run too, which is always a possibility, right? Please. This one's going really well so far, though. Like, this is basically as good as I ever do. I've had a few sort of uncommon mishaps, but I've made up for it by doing well in places that otherwise would hurt me. know I want to cheese this guy, I just don't remember how to get started. There we go. I defeated that guy probably 100 times before I figured out how to cheese him. Hey, Itarama, welcome in, Itty. Always a pleasure. Welcome to the Battletoads D-Rust. Kind of an impromptu session with this before we get our time tunnel main event rolling. No, I forgot there was a one up there. That part, I'm always bad at that part, so I'm happy when I can make it through there without losing a life, for sure. Snake Pit's gonna be a little bit rough, because I certainly don't remember, you know, the patterns. Freddy Krueger Snake just in time for Halloween. Thought there was a spike above my head there. I was really scared to try and jump. Whoa, I'm shocked. That was not the thing to do there. I told you I didn't remember the patterns. No, I made that hard jump and then I wasted it. Alright, so this guy comes back around. Ooh, almost lost it there. Now it makes sense. Oh, no, come on. I don't even know how something like that happens. Very upsetting. So that's a cheese. I didn't know that, because that's how I first exited the level. I always want to try Battletoads, but it gets pushed down the list every time I see gameplay. Oh, it's good. It's good. I forgot these guys, they're weaker than the rabbits on the other stage. They, there's one punch will eliminate them. Oh no, you know what? I said that, like I mentioned that there was a possibility of, like, complete game over. There's also the possibility of soft locks. I forgot this game does that. Space Invaders? No. Rockets. Now Space Invaders? Rabbits? I know there's Space Invaders coming up. Oh no, I was gonna let that... I was gonna let the one piece of health go. I almost got all the rockets. I was gonna let the one piece of health go so I could get the other two, but I didn't get the other two. Soft locks in a linear beat 'em up? Oh yeah, the game 100% can soft lock on you. It's happened to me on the stage 8 boss, which I think is the less common one, where it's a glitch that can happen where you get stuck under the floor and all your lives bleed away. That one though, if you have a continue, I think if you use a continue, you can get out of it. The other one is if the rat on stage 10, the rat race, if the rat despawns, then you get stuck. And there's no way out of that, because there's no way to lose a life. There's no way to get a game over, so you can't use a continue. You're just stuck. You have to reset the game. It's the worst. That one has happened to me a few times. That one is much more common. Neither are super common. I mean, the one's only happened one time out of the hundreds of times I've played this. I did not remember that. Oh no. Okay, there's one up somewhere in the middle of the screen. Got it. Checkpoint anytime now. No! No! We got the one up though, so. My left eye is conspiring against me. It's really, like, I really need to wipe my left eye. We won't cheese the rockets, because I'm not a coward. No, I should have been a coward. good. We got the one up. That was nice. No! Ah! I thought it was a different part. Whoa! I thought that was a different part too. I thought that was this part coming up. I'm lucky to have survived that. I'm super lucky. Nice. That last part there is really tough. I played this level so many times before I noticed that there's a stick at the very beginning. The thing that really concerns me is I do become less and less familiar with the levels as the game goes on. I don't know if I can get that one up. Hang on. No! I'm the worst. I'm not going down there for that stick. I could... Well... Say I could get it, but... Oh, this is bad. I think I'm gonna lose this life. Probably right here with these guys. Thank goodness. Okay. No! Ah! Sorry, I feel like I'm screaming a lot. Okay, do I even need to land on that? I don't even think I need to land on that. Oh, we're gonna game over here on this stage because I am terrible at the springs. This is horrible. Of all the things in the game to take me out, the springs on stage 8. We've already crossed so many more difficult obstacles, and there's so many more up ahead. Ooh. Well, I can't get that one up now. That's terrible. I forgot about it. So, the boss of this stage is one of my weakest areas. I have major difficulty with this fight. No! Ah! Every one of his attacks is a one-hit kill. Oh no, one of our hearts opened up. Rip the run. My lives are super low right now. Thank goodness. I didn't remember if you could hug the right-hand side of that or not. No! I don't know how I missed those spikes. And those. Move, Battletoad, it's coming for you, move! Oh, goodness. Oh my goodness, we have a raid coming in. Very nice, hey! Welcome in, raiders! Hey, welcome in! Usworm, thank you for the raid! Hey, pleasure to have you here. Dial the Dude, welcome in. Vanilla Night Rail, welcome in. Joey Gatorman, welcome in. Kazak, welcome in. Dark Mage Liam, welcome in. Sweet Potato Sophie. Ovichu. Lead Z. Professor Dog, PhD. My goodness, so many new names. A couple familiar ones here. Ubendroob, welcome in. Hey, thank you, my friends. If I blundered anyone's name, I'm sure I did. Then I welcome correction. How was your stream tonight? How did it go? Did you give up on Time Tunnel? No. I started early, so this is the pre-show. Time Tunnel is still coming up. I'm not giving up on that one. Time Tunnel is on its way. I just thought I would do. I just thought I'd start the night off with a little Battletoads since we started really early. Time Tunnel is 100% on the way. That I'm not hiding away from that. I'm not hiding away from that. That agony. What were you doing tonight? Shoutout says GeoGuessr? Oh my goodness, I would be terrible at that. I hope that went well for you. It says you just got franced, so I'm guessing you ended up there at least once tonight. And Claire Sonality, welcome in, Claire. Thank you for joining us. Uben Droob, W is silent. Just hope Frownie doesn't lose at Battletoads. He has spoken of second and third attempts. Well, I'd like to get all the way through the game tonight. We're on my first attempt tonight. I've played this game before. I've beaten it a handful of times. It's been a couple months, though. I'm definitely out of practice with it, so I thought, you know, I've been wanting to play through it for a while to kind of de-rust, and it's going not very well right now. I've only got 4 lives. I've only got 4 lives in the tank. That's a really bad situation to be in. But yeah, I thought if the attempt failed, I'd at least make a second try. There's not going to be more than probably 2 hours of Battletoads tonight, though, and we're almost at 1 hour. It's my birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Congratulations on another successful trip around the sun. Another year's worth of experience gained. Another level up. You'll know me better as Claire Sonality. We've got a multiple personality disorder, and she's the other half of me. Also, it's pronounced ooze, but it's not so important. Ooze, I'm sorry. Ooze you shall be. And happy birthday. We didn't just get Franced, we got French territory off the coast of Madagascar, and it was unfortunate. Hopefully it was at the very least an unforgettable adventure. Thank you for the follows as well, my new friends. Kazak and Leedsy, thank you for coming on board with us. I very much appreciate that. Never thought of birthdays as a level up. That's a pretty neat idea. Yeah. 100%. That Horsies Will Kill, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. We also got Japan about 20 times. I would be so bad. I would be so bad at recognizing where anywhere in the world was. I'm terrible at geography to begin with. And then being able to like identify from like clues, like you know, like a language on a sign, or I don't know, architecture or whatever you rely on to figure out where you are. I would be so hopeless. I'd have to start small. I'd have to start small with a GeoGuessr just limited to like my hometown. And try and figure out what street I'm on. Got to Japan about 4,000 times, which sounds more fun in theory than it was in practice. I'm intrigued by the blanket on the back of your seating apparatus. Oh yeah, that's a quilt. My father actually crocheted this. He is a man of every talent. He music, woodworking, auto repair, computers, arts and crafts, needlework. He can do everything. He spends a lot of his TV watching time crocheting, and yeah, this is a blanket that he made, and I like it quite a bit. I really like these colors. The stream, my position for where I sit to stream has changed a couple times over the few years that we've been doing this. It started off, I sat on a bench with no back in front of a black bed sheet that I nailed to the ceiling, And in the corner of my living room was where I streamed out of, and then eventually I moved down into the basement, and I've experimented with a few different setups, but what we've eventually landed on is to attempt to go in the direction of maximum comfort. A very comfy, a very cozy environment is what I've striven for. Looks very cozy. Thank you, thank you. That's exactly the direction I wanted to go in. Battletoads are cool and green. That they are. I'm a big fan of Battletoad. He is quite the hero, and he's got to be, because this game is devastatingly difficult. Thinking of the Fire Emblem level up, but for me, it's -1 to defense or strength every time. Oh no. Oh no. It takes a special kind of person to be good at GeoGuessr for sure, Oosh says. I think for that game I would definitely need to be more in the audience than in the driver's seat. I would be hopeless. I keep reheating my spaghetti because I have the attention span of an ant, Horsey says. And we get to look at the Skelly boy. Oh yeah, that's Isaac. So that's he's not always 100% all the time on the stream, but he's almost always on the stream. He hangs out over here. He's my co-pilot. Isaac's a good companion. He's a huge fan of the stream. He doesn't say much, but he's got the best seat in the house. It's pretty, thank you. Ooze, thank you for the, hey, thank you for the Prime sub. Very much appreciated. Thank you for that. It's your birthday and you're giving me gifts. I love it. Good on you for having it visible on stream. Immediately drew my eye. Maximum comfort seems like a good idea considering the games you play. Oh yeah. So if you're not familiar with the stream, my friends, I'm mostly a retro streamer, overwhelmingly so. Mile Hyrule, welcome in and thank you for the Wheel of Scorchin. I play a few new games on the Switch every now and then. Like we're currently doing Tears of the Kingdom, but the rest of the schedule is stuff like Batman and Robin on the Genesis, Wario Land 3 on the Game Boy Color, and Time Tunnel on the Commodore 64. Like that sort of gives you an idea of the stuff that I lean into. We're going to be doing hopefully a really fun spooky project next month. So while those games will be in the mix, there will hopefully be a whole bunch of other stuff too. I like brutally difficult platformers. I like adventure type games. I prioritize an extremely strictly blind playthrough style, so I try to never do any research. I don't read the manual. I don't read the back of the box. I reject all help or advice or hints as much as I possibly can. So sometimes I don't understand the controls or the mechanics of the games I play. There's struggling. There's confusion. Sometimes there's tears, but I find this style lends a lot of opportunities for really interesting moments and stunning victories when they do happen. I like jank trash games. I like to experiment with a lot of plug-and plays, licensed titles, and shovelware. And I'm not much of a sampler. I sink my teeth in, even when they're really bad games. I try to go all the way to credits. And if it's really horrible, then we might even 100% it. It's generally, as you saw, I try to lean into a pretty comfy vibe. It's mostly a family-friendly vibe around here. Most of what you see and hear out of me, I try to keep really all ages appropriate. And we will play an M-rated game from time to time, but I try to give a good heads up about it. That's the gist. It's just a place where people are supposed to be able to relax and forget about the world and just enjoy watching me suffer through some games that are just way too hard for me. Let me catch up here. Thank you, Ovichu, for the follow as well. Thank you for coming on board with us. I like your skeleton, buddy. Thank you, thank you. Isaac is quite a good friend and certainly appreciates the compliment, if I may speak on his behalf. You need 50 different monitors in your room or you're not a real gamer? Well, I've got 2. I've got a CRT and I've got a flat screen, and I make it work. Make love frogs, not Battletoads. Thank goodness Frownie seems to be content in his setup at the moment. Jelly says. Jelly is my wife, and yeah, she. I have a habit of moving furniture around a whole lot, usually to surprise her. Anytime she takes a trip out of town, she has to worry that when she gets back, the house is going to look completely different. You need to be a big, strong man to have 40 monitors in your room. That's what self-control is. I like Battletoads. Very cool. Isaac never says much, but he's still very humorous. Circling says, well done, well done. I got plenty of wonderful gifts during the stream from all the folks here. Might as well pay it forward. Thank you, Ooze. I appreciate that. I'm going to apologize for Claire putting the idea to play Time Tunnel in your head, by the way. I love it. No need for an apology. Time Tunnel is really something else. Have you played Mystery of the Druids before? I have not. I feel like I've heard the title, but I don't know what the game is. You sound very much like my kind of guy. I'm glad I followed. This sounds like a good time. I try to keep it a good time. I have to tell you, it does, things get rough on this stream sometimes. I struggle with a lot of the games I play. But I try to keep my spirits high and keep it as fun as I can. This is the best place. What? This is the best place to talk about politics and get into rowdy fights. Excuse StatCat, my friend is new here. Welcome in, StatCat. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I'm glad a few folks enjoyed your vibe as much as myself and Claire. Now I'm going to take the rest of the night off and hand our body over to her. Thank you, Ooze. Thank you again. I don't think I know who Jen Ann is, Horsey. So far as who my favorite green man is, probably Link. don't think it could be a Frownie game. He has no way to play it. That would be fun. I'm mostly a console guy. We are going to be playing a Commodore 64 game in a little while. Because I have the C64 Mini. I'd love to have a real Commodore. We had one when I was a kid. My father had one. But I just don't have the money or the time or the know-how to keep and maintain a retro microcomputer like that. Sometimes they can need a bit of work, and I'm not really comfortable with it. And so far as PCs, I'm a Luddite. I like consoles. I like a simple box. Put the game in, one button to turn it on. It's really just console stuff for me. Samurai Showdown 2. I don't know that one. Alright, I've got to spin the wheel. Wheel of Scorchin has several spicy or sour foods on it. Some of them are quite mild, some of them are a little bit more intense, and I'm just going to spin at Mile High Rule's request and sample what we land on. I think that in the chat is accurate to what's on it right now. And we hit the worst thing on the wheel. The worst is in the weakest, the lamest thing on the wheel. That's candy buttons. There's nothing to them. So these are fire candy buttons. They're cinnamon candies. And supposedly they go from hot to extremely hot. I don't know. We're down here at the weekend still. Sorry, you probably can't see it very well. So I'm gonna take a row of these, a vertical row and a horizontal row, and just eat. So three candy buttons. This is a dud of a spin. My favorite Mile High Roll says. So let's have these. These are a different color than we've had before. Maybe they'll be slightly more intense. The first ones were very yellow. These are slightly orange. I don't want to get our hopes up. I could be imagining something, but I think those three buttons had a little more of a kick to them. I think those were just a little hotter than the yellow ones. So we are working in the right direction. That's all there is to that, though. It's very... It's a very underwhelming thing to land on. The Wheel of Ease. Alright, I think we're caught up with the chat. Only 16 more spins and we'll get to the really hot ones. Yeah, there's quite a few of them to get there. Rin Hero, welcome in. Oh snap, it's Combat Frogs. Yeah, welcome in. I'm trying to de-rust with this game a little bit. Not that I've ever been pro at it. That might sound like I was better than I am. I've beaten it a handful of times, but it's been a couple months since I played it. I'm a bit rusty. I'm hoping to beat it tonight. I'm scared right now because I only got 4 lives. That's a bad position for me to be in, but I don't remember the layout of this part. I know one of these tires is... I know that there's a trick at the end of one of them where... It's hard to explain. Where it's going to roll over you in a place that it looks like it won't. I'm trying to remember to look out for that place, but I don't remember the pattern of all these spikes. I think right here? No. Alright, so next one. Oh. Well, I don't know. That didn't... What I thought was going to happen didn't happen. I guess that's alright, though. Let's go. Oh, it's an awful jump. No, don't electrocute me, please. Oh, that was bad. Didn't like that. Oh, what a nasty surprise. Sharks. No! Aw. I keep a wooden sword next to me, and it's typically for hitting the reset button on my consoles without getting up. But there's something in the way of my TV. I need to push it out of the way. Thank you for the hydrate. This is the perfect setting for it. Cooling down the pipes. Love Mystery of the Druids. It's a seriously funny and decently written game, StatCat says. Yeah, other than the... Like, I don't know what kind of game it is, because other than the title, I don't know that I've heard anything about it. It's an adventure game, but a PC game. It's all right. I've got time tunnel to fill my adventure game needs for the moment. There we go. Get those sharks out of there. Get the one up. I don't remember how to do this part. No! I don't have the lives to spare. Whoa, I'm amazed that that didn't count as a hit against those spikes. Oh, I'm dead. No! We were almost at a checkpoint. sadness. Deep and abiding sadness. So I played this game for the very first time at the tail end of December of last year. And it took me 3 months to beat it. Now that's not 3 months of constant everyday gameplay. Oh, cool. What a way to go. It was that toward the end. I went from playing it about once a week to playing it every day by the end. All of my sessions with Battletoads added up together before I was finally able to beat it. Came out to about 95 hours for a game that is only about an hour long on a casual playthrough. So it took me quite a while to learn it. The longest part of it, the last like 2 months, I was like, this is unbelievable, but for like the last 2 months, I was really only stuck on stage 11 of the game. I could make it all the way up there, but I just couldn't get past stage 11. No. I remember those spikes at the last moment. It's like Mystery of the Druids is like old Sierra and LucasArts games, TagCat says. Time Tunnel is an adventure in the same way as filling out your taxes is an adventure, Claire says. I've never beaten this game, Rin says. I've made it to the Revolution once. It's Rat Race that does me in most of the time. Rat Race is pretty intense. It was the Klingerwinger that, stage 11, the Klingerwinger was my, like, huge struggle where I could make it up to that, and I just could not get past it for, yeah, like, almost 2 months. Probably closer to a month and a half, but an extraordinary amount of time. I was stuck there so long. It's one of the rare instances where I did actually break and have to ask the chat to give me some advice. But I was given a hint for one method for handling it, and then I immediately refused to use it. So I ended up stuck. Regardless. Come on, I've never had such bad luck with that fish. I'm sure no one ever has. To get clobbered by him 3 times until he KOs me? Unprecedented. Can you imagine the gaming landscape without game devs or slash publishers not being afraid? Without them being afraid of the rental industry, I think is... Yeah. Can I imagine it without them being afraid of it? Well, we're gonna be... If you missed the first part of Battletoads, don't worry, because we're about to be restarting. Twice? Get out of here. Yeah, 100% we're going to be taking this from the top in a moment. I watched so much of this game that I've internalized most of it, but I can't actually execute. I'd argue Klingerwinger is worse than the Turbo Tunnel. It was definitely worse for me. I just, I don't know, I just would not click in my brain, like, the way to clear it. The timing of the, like, input switches is what, just what got me over and over again. I couldn't work out the feel of it. Turbo Tunnel wasn't too terrible. Like, you know, I definitely died and game overed a few times learning it. But I don't know, perhaps I got lucky, but like I didn't feel like I struggled with that part for all that long. Stage 7 was a big hurdle for me. Where it was like a part of the game that I spent a long time, like a few nights before I could get through, I think. Stage 7 was pretty rough. This stage was really rough to get through for the first time. The rat race was tough, but I don't think as tough. And then the Klingerwinger was just impossible. The Revolution stage wasn't too bad for me. I didn't beat it the first night that I made it to it, but I think I beat it the second night. So apparently, like, So because I play through stuff very blind, like, I had to figure out how to get past everything in the game all on my own. I did mention that I asked for a hint for the Klingerwinger. That ended up that I ended up not using. But you know, it's pretty slow to like learn a lot of like particulars about the game. But one of the things is I know that there are warps in this game. I figured that out even pretty early on during my playthrough, because people would come in and they would comment about how I was playing with no warps. And it's like, I have actually never found a warp in this game. I wouldn't use them anyway, because that's just not the way that I do things. But I've never even found one to use if I wanted to. I tend to try to do most things that I do in the hardest way possible. I'm kind of a monster sometimes. Oh. Unbelievable. I just don't have the feel for the timing for how to not get bullied by those guys. We still have a continue? Can't believe it. This is absolutely my last continue, though. I can't believe how many times I've had these guys blow up on me tonight. That's not something I'm used to. Battletoads, always full of surprises. Klinger Winger is absolutely worse than the Turbo Tunnel. There's so little margin for error throughout the entire stage, and it's constant D-pad pressing. Turbo Tunnel is more positioning and short bursts. I just couldn't figure out how to round the corners in the Klinger Winger. I don't know what I'm doing so differently from what I normally do that's causing these guys to explode so many times, but I need to not do whatever it is I'm doing. Hey, Boat Ladder, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you've been well. We have passed one stage of Game Boy Battletoads, and we counted that as a Battletoads win forever. We still have a continue, but for how long? Not for very long. Not for very long. And when Frownie sleeps, his thumbs are awake. When the stream really takes off and I'm huge and successful, and you know, we hit that 1 million sub goal. And it's time for me to start practicing my deathless run of Echo the Dolphin. I'm gonna do like all the big celebrities do, and I'm gonna take out an insurance policy on my thumbs. Don't want an unfortunate hammer accident to end my whole streaming career. You also need some grifty merchandise, like teaming up with Binance or something. Which will come first, getting a 1,000,000 subs mark or beating Time Tunnel? at the rate of at the rate that Battletoads is going, I'm probably gonna hit 1,000,000 subs before I even start Time Tunnel tonight. That 1,000,000 subs equals Frownie hot tub stream. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna stream my Echo the Dolphin speedruns from a hot tub. Frownie NFTs. You know what's funny? StatCat? That's actually crossed my mind before. Like, not as something to do, but just as I watched something about I watched something on YouTube about NFTs, and like it was just sort of talking about like lazy, like the lazy like AI artwork NFTs that are churned out that are just iterations on the same thing over and over again. Like there's some kind of animal or character with like different sunglasses and hats in everyone, and I was thinking my Frownie icons at the top corner of my screen are basically already that exact same thing. They're like, it's the artwork that I've been displaying on the stream every night is already NFT material. I'm primed to enter the market. Hot tub stream in Wisconsin winter. Yeah. My friend might have to get a cut of that. It's not his likeness that I'm using. I don't know how I keep despawning that one up before I can collect it, but I'm very sad that I do. That's not what the court documents will show when you strike it rich. We don't have to worry. I have all the original comic strips. What StatCat is referring to, if you're not familiar, my friends, the origin of the name Agent Frownie is from a joke between me and my best friend in high school. my friend and I. He was I always describe him as having really bad luck in really like small and innocuous and frequently humorous ways. He was the kind of guy that if he dropped a piece of toast, it would land butter side down on the floor every time. I started when we were in pre-cal class. We sat next to each other, and I started drawing these little comic strips that were basically retellings of situations where he'd had bad luck, but I drew them from the perspective of the cause of my friend's bad luck in the comic strip was this unseen spirit, this frowny face with arms that would follow my friend about in the world and engineer situations to cause him to have bad luck. This character, Agent Frownie, would follow him around and he and I both thought these were very amusing. And he started drawing them as well, and they very quickly just devolved into basically like a Tom and Jerry sort of situation, where it wasn't really so much Frownie causing my friend to have bad luck as it was just the Agent Frownie luring him into various death traps or situations where he'd be set on fire or electrocuted. I kind of like Itchy and Scratchy, I guess, from The Simpsons. But over time, because it was the nature of our friendship that I was frequently telling terrible jokes and making bad puns that would annoy him and make him roll his eyes and sigh at me, that it became more and more the situation that he identified me as the real Agent Frownie in his life. And it was just something that kind of stuck. Good to know that I'm not the only one whose username is based off a silly inside joke from high school. Oh, 100%. And it worked out really perfectly. Like when I decided I wanted to start up a stream, like I wanted to choose a name that was available across a few different platforms that I figured I'd want to use, and like I thought of a bunch of different things, but Agent Frownie was the one. It came to me, and it just seemed like I pulled it from the depths of my memory. And it was free where I wanted to use it, and it was just perfect. And then like it just naturally lent itself to the artwork on the stream, because in the comics that we would draw, like Frownie was frequently appearing in different forms or disguising himself. Another stage 1 death. Let's not continue with that. Oh no, I hit the power instead of the reset. I can't hit the power button again. My username is just a pun that Ooze made up after he realized I was there. Mine is obvious, Sweet Potato Sophie says. I mean at some point to digitize some of the Agent Frownie comics and put them in the Discord, because a few people have you know, when I bring it up, expressed interest, and I don't have every single one we ever drew, but I have a lot of them. I think I have close to all of them. I do remember a couple that no longer exist. But one, I don't have a scanner, though I could just take a picture with my tablet. That's not really the biggest obstacle. Two, I've been kind of lazy in creating a channel for it in the Discord. And three, I'd want to share the very first one, but it would have to be edited a little bit. Mine's just based off my cat, StatCat says. And by that, oh, I didn't read the second part, and by that I mean I'm literally a yam. I don't like to reset so much on stage one, but I need every advantage I can get. I'm clearly very much out of practice. Hey, Creep Sody, welcome in. How you doing? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm picking up Battletoads for the first time in a couple months, and sadly, I'm struggling with it kind of mightily tonight. I've already had one attempt completely die on stage 9. So, like, that wasn't good, and I'm having a little bit of trouble getting out of stage 1 now to get another attempt going. I mean, I'm not game overing on stage 1 yet, but and yet I do mean but it's just, things are very ugly. But we'll get it back. I might not be able to get myself into shape to beat this game tonight necessarily, but you know, I've done it a couple times before. Surely it will come back to me. Or maybe it won't. Hopefully, you've been doing well. Since we came out as plural, we've been to about 10 streams where people I know have said they love Claire's username. So my alter has got a better actual name and username than me. I can't stop taking L's, who says? I'm cuter than you, stop being mad. Which version am I using? NES. We're playing on NES. And we're doing the real hardware thing. Got, you know, an ancient console, official cartridge, controller, big CRT, all the works. I know where you live. All right. Doing okay? Just having a nice relax. Excellent, excellent. Oh no. Oh, I did so much better getting 1-ups the first time around. This is going horribly. I don't think I'm gonna get a single one from the birds. I've already wasted my best opportunities. Oh my goodness. This guy has infinite health. No. Ah. That was one away from a 1-up. If I'd landed one more hit. everything I do is bad. Thanks to Frownie's course of action tonight, every Battletoads death makes Santa cry. Oh, what a sentence. So sometimes when I really like a game, I'll go for a challenge run to try and clear the game well. I'm not really much of a speed runner, but I do like to take some of these games and try to beat them. Try to do like no death clear is typically the challenge that I aim for. And like we've done some pretty tough games. Like I've done Castlevania, I've done some of the Contra games, I've done Super Ghouls and Ghosts. And like Battletoads is a game that like it's difficult enough and I like it enough that like it'd be a good candidate for that kind of challenge, but it's actually just a little bit too hard, I think. I don't know. It's always like in the back of my mind, like I know it seems silly, like with as much as I'm struggling with this game tonight, to say something like that, but I have cleared it, and like I've done 1 credit runs of this a lot, right? Like to not use continues. I've made 1 credit runs through the game several times, so like the next step then is to do 1 life, but. Oh my goodness. It's such a... I know it would be a grind that would take so long. It would definitely be my hardest challenge. Hey Persephone, welcome in. Hope your weekend's getting off to a good start. Thought I messed up one of those jumps. victory. Hey, for all my struggling, for as bad as I've done at so much of this game, if I can pat myself on the back about one thing, I've no death the turbo tunnel both times tonight, first try. So there's at least something I haven't lost over the past couple months. Oh. I was prepared for that ice cube, and it still got the better of me. Whoa. This will be our only other attempt at Battletoads tonight, though, my friends. Just so you know, if we get a permanent game over, we're gonna throw in the towel for tonight, and we'll come back to it next week. We might come back to it next week either way. We'll see. But we will be, whether I beat it or whether I have a permanent game over, we'll be moving on to Time Tunnel then. No! Ah, I was thinking of the next snowman. Yeah, and a heads up now, 'cause I might forget later. If you have a photosensitivity issue with like flashing lights, Time Tunnel might not be the game for you. It's pretty brutal with the splashing screens. Nope. I knew I messed that. I could feel I did that wrong. That's a shame. That's a really terrible place to lose a life. We totally forgot about the stupid flashing lights somehow when we suggested it. I've been lucky enough at that. Don't know that I've ever had any issue with lights in sort of any way. Like flashing lights don't cause issues for me, but even like sometimes people are just sensitive to like too much brightness or something like that, and I don't think that really gets to me. I've had one game that made me like sort of like uncomfortable in like an almost like nauseated kind of way though. It was a Scooby-Doo game. It's one of the Scooby-Doo games on the Game Boy. Whenever the camera would pan, it made my stomach feel a little like uncomfortable. We were playing it with it's one we did on stream. I was playing it with the Game Boy player on the big TV. And so, like, that's... Like, I think it probably wouldn't have bothered me on that Game Boy screen, maybe, but... I was quite noticeably uncomfortable playing it on the big TV. I think it was Mystery Mayhem. Super tough boss, that one. We barely made it through. I shouldn't talk like that during this game because it will not hesitate to humiliate me. Alright, hopefully we'll see you again, Zergling. So one of the features of this game is that the run, there's no run button. To run, it's double tap on the D-pad, and I hate that. I hate double tap to run. I don't like it in any game, but it's really bad in this game because a lot of the times, like, you need to make like micro adjustments to Battletoads' position, and you know, like if you have to make two like micro adjustments close together, well, that reads as double tap, and then you go running into an obstacle or off a cliff. It's pretty horrible. And I get why it's like that, because, you know, it's a controller with two buttons, they don't really have a lot of options, and, yeah, a lot of games do double tap to run, but, yeah, I will never like it. mean, I think they did that in Castlevania Circle of the Moon. I think that does double tap to run. That one stands out to me because I think that's one of the first games, if I'm right about it, I think that's one of the first games where I encountered that concept. Well, no. It would have been like that in Turtles before that. But I didn't own that game. I think it's... I was going to say, though, I think it's probably better. It was probably okay in that game because I don't recall any, like, really specific platforming that you have to do. Like, where you need those sort of micro-adjustments to your position. But anyway, in this game, it's just terrible. There really isn't much else they could do, though. I don't know that it would have felt good to have the punch button double up as a run, so... Yes! I didn't lose a life to the rockets! Alright, will I remember anything? About how to get through here? Hey, Loyal to Soil. Welcome in, Loyal. Hope you are well. No. I knew I was going to lose a... What made you want to suffer extra? Come on. Why is this part so extra difficult all of a sudden? So many of these missiles are coming back so much further than I'm used to having them do. No, and I missed the one up. Life is bad. And you know, I love Battletoads. It's brutal, but you know, that's what keeps me coming back. I don't know anything about the Sega version, Loyal. I've never played it. This is a NES. It's always been NES for me so far. We will do the Sega version sometime, but Frownie just knows that he's going to defeat Time Tunnel in one go later. I mean, the ship has sailed on that since I've already spent a session with it, right? But I mean, it would be cool if I beat it tonight. I don't know. I don't know if you checked out the I don't know if you checked out the ending of the VOD for our last session. I think you had mentioned something about maybe taking a look at that, because I thought we were talking about it before. But I mean, if you haven't, like, where I left off was I figured out how to access one of those caves that I couldn't before. And so, like, depending on what's inside that cave, depending on, like, what's inside that cave and how useful it is, like, I don't know, I feel like at any point the game could just turn, right? And I mean, it's probably wishful thinking. But I feel like at any point, I could get the one right item and use it in the one right place, and then just have everything start to, like, come together real quickly with that game. I do feel a little robbed about from how things went just there a moment ago. I return with lentil soup. Welcome back, Stack Cat. I don't know if I've ever had a straightforward lentil soup. I've tried lentils in my chili before. I feel like I thought that was okay, but wasn't, like, quite over the moon about it. Hey, Chris Coble, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you with us tonight. We're playing a little bit of Battletoads. We're doing 2 games tonight. We're doing Battletoads, then we're doing Time Tunnel. Time Tunnel is the reason my stream has such a wacky title tonight. Battletoads is canceled. It's soup time. Lentil soup is yummy and good for you. Go make it now. I can't wait to see more Time Tunnel. Oh, 100%. 100%. There's more Time Tunnel. I'm looking forward to it. It only takes me several hours between every piece of progress with that game. That playthrough, I was scrubbing through the footage of the VOD earlier today. I was just scrubbing through our time with it from last time, and it there's so many gigantic stretches of time where I just don't do or say anything. It is the most empty stream. But when progress happens, I'm so excited for it. It's so unique. It's really something else. I'm really boy, I hope I'm able to beat it. I mean, I don't necessarily have to beat it tonight. Like that's not what I'm saying. Like I mean, that would be nice, but I just hope in general that I'm able to stick with it and I'm actually able to beat it. It's such a zany experience that I feel like it would be quite the feather in my cap if I were able to master that game. I love lentil soup with sausage. Never made it with meat, Stat Cat says. Stat Cat also loves Time Tunnel. Excellent. We're glad that for some reason everyone is enjoying the terrible, terrible game that Chris and I suggested. That was 100%. That was 100% you. I would never ask anyone to play that game, but who says? A C64 isn't that expensive, between 100 and 150 bucks. Well, at least I got the one up. I mean, 150 bucks, like, on the one hand, like, it's not as expensive as a lot of other things, but, I mean, it's not an insignificant amount of money, either. Not that I'm saying that you're saying that, but... I just think that with, because if I have a real C64, then I have to consider, like, how do I put games on it? And my concerns, like, I have concerns about repair because I know those the capacitors in them burn out. Like, we had that problem with the C64 that my dad had. The reason that we eventually ended up throwing it out was that the capacitors kept burning out in it. Or that was a big part of it anyway. Was he had to keep swapping those. I mean, it wasn't like he was swapping them every week or anything, but... it's something that would come up every so often, and then eventually it got to where he couldn't diagnose the problem with it anymore. There's a C64 flash cartridge, but I think if I'm going to be dropping that kind of, like... if I'm going to be dropping that kind of investment onto something for the stream right now, that a flash cart for a console is where that money would probably be better spent for me at the moment. There's definitely better solutions than an actual C64. I have wondered a little bit. What the state of C64 emulation on the Wii looks like, because that would be a really good way to play C64 games if the C64 emulator for the Wii is any good. As a potential, I mean, I like using the Mini when it works, but if the Wii has better C64 emulation, that might be good for all the games that I can't get to work on the Mini for whatever reason. Oh, it looks like we have a raid come in. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a boss. Rafnir, hey, welcome in, Rafnir. I hope you have good news for us. Welcome in. Rafnir has been playing my favorite video game, friends. He's been on the quest to beat Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo to do a real playthrough of it. 2 loops. True ending. And welcome in Beyond 2 Dark Souls. Welcome in. Hey, thank you for joining us and thank you for the follow. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you for the hydrate. Hydration is key to success. Let's do it. Always have a bottle of water handy. Cooling down the pipes. Already making me want to play Battletoads again. Yeah, it's been too long for me. I'm very rusty with it. No, Prafnir says no. Got to the Satan pair at the end of stage 6. And I hit a wall. The red guy and the green guy. It's a tough battle. Like, I know you're gonna get it, Hrafnir. I'm heartbroken that it wasn't tonight, but I know you're gonna get it. Seems like C64 on the Wii is very much a thing. Yeah, I know there's an emulator for it. I just don't know how good it is. I don't know if I don't think I still have it on there, but I have put a C64 emulator on the Wii in the past, but I think I took it off. I didn't really use it at the time. I love Battletoads. Excellent. Funny, I'm sure he would say he's not a fan at the moment. Dynamite, welcome in. Welcome to Battletoads, my friend. Hope you are well. Greg, welcome in. Why is it every time I hear a C64 brought up in video game discussion, I always think of the Nintendo 64? I mean, you're not alone. You're not alone there, Greg. The C64 is kind of further back than a lot of people go with their retro gaming. NES seems to be the cutoff for a whole lot of people. So C64 is a little bit further back, and then also if you're in the US, it wasn't really very common. Excuse me one moment. I'm going to let you enjoy the pause music. I need to step away from the camera for just a second. Right. You'll have to try it, considering how often the mini crashes might be worth checking out. Yeah, I just need to get around to doing it. To reinstalling the reinstalling an emulator. I should try some of the games that I know are not working on the mini, like Turrican and Short Circuit. I should test out those because like those are the ones I've had problems with in various formats. Yeah, I really want to. I really want to play Short Circuit on the C64. I just can't get it to work. Well, my friends, Hrafnir's news that the quest for Super Ghouls and Ghosts, that the quest for that victory continues. All the more reason to click on that link in the shout out, give our friend a follow so that maybe you can be there when the historic moment happens. It's hard fighting with the bracelet. Give me my bow and arrow. I know. The bracelet is... That's why I tell everyone. If you haven't done the 2 loops, you don't really know what the game is about. Because the bracelet really changes the dynamic of that fight. Having the double jump in order to do damage makes you so vulnerable. Got it to work? I'll tune in later if you're still on. Thank you again for the raid, Hrafnir. Good luck at work, and good luck with the continuing Super Ghouls and Ghosts quest. I was around at the time of the C64, but the C64 was too expensive. No way, my mom was gonna spend that much money for a computer back then. Oh yeah. And yeah, it's Short Circuit as in the movie. Yeah. Could be good, but then again, so many movie-based games were lousy back then. Well, I know a little bit about it. I have never played it. But it seems to be not like really directly based on anything specifically from the movie, but I think it's just it's about number 5 attempting to escape from like the Nova Robotics Lab is sort of the premise of the game. I mentioned when I was a little kid, I saw a little TV monitor with the rainbow logo on it at friends' houses and didn't realize it was an actual game system at the time. The C64. Didn't know what a C64 was till I was an adult. Yeah, that monitor, the Commodore monitors, makes for a really good television. That's the way that I used it. After my dad kind of decommissioned our C64, the monitor became my bedroom television. I actually have that monitor, and it still works. I used it on the stream for a bit, but it's kind of inconvenient for the streaming setup because it doesn't have very robust video in and out options. It actually has no video out options. Which, I mean, there are other ways to split my video signal, but I'd like just running it through the TV. Oh, finally, I got that one up for a change. I've been despawning that every time. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, now the one-up's gone. So it's... oh. This is our second attempt at this tonight. When we... First attempt, I got to this level here, and I bled away all my lives and continues on this stage. I think I was actually doing alright until stage 8 on the previous run. This is... well, I'm gonna bleed away all my lives here, too. I can't get past this rubber duck. I started stumbling on level 8 last attempt, and then level 9 really did me in. We've been a lot more solid. Why? Why is it doing this? I have an approach to this, and it's not working. Pull my hair out. I see a lot of streamers do really well at this level, but it's one of the toughest ones for me. This and the rat race. This level is tough. Rat race is pretty tough too. I don't have as hard of a time with that level as I do this one, but finally. Ugh. That's all I was waiting for, is for that duck to turn around. I got lucky there. With that goldfish. That was nothing but luck. remember how to do this part. I hope it's just back and forth. Okay, it was. That particular one-up is the most important one in the game because this part is so terrible. Oh, yeah. I think you're probably right about that. It's been a long time since I've done this stage. This is our first time here tonight, so. Fingers crossed, right? I'm off to a bad start. I'm off to a bad start if this guy's already so close to me. If we soft block on this stage, I'm out, by the way. If this stage soft blocks on me, I'm out. Oh, no. I love the manic music in this level. It's spot on. That is so fair. Getting eaten by the fan, technically not as... Oh, no, not a soft block at all. No, the fan was 100% just my fault. I forgot it was there. What am I gonna do, right? Oh, no! No, I missed a step! Oh, I'm missing these tight turnarounds. This is so bad. Hey, we still made it. Goodness. Looks like a game I might have liked at the time, but by the time it came out, June of '91, I was already losing interest in platformers in favor of RPGs, Final Fantasy, and Dragon Warrior 1 and 2, Greg says. Kind of in a similar boat. In my teens, I was so obsessed with RPGs, I barely played anything else. Chris says. I am the exact opposite. I have never really gotten into RPGs. I don't think the NES ones would have done anything for me. Well, I was gonna say that the Super Nintendo, even then, I think don't listen to him. RPGs are goofy, and you and me know what Dynamite says. The thing is, I think I was just too young. I would have had no chance for NES RPGs. Like, I couldn't read well enough for a lot of those. Like, I would have had no chance. The Super Nintendo, maybe. If there was a window where I was going to get into RPGs, it would have been at the end of the Super Nintendo's life. I think because I would have been old enough to read them by then and be able to figure them out. But by then it was just too late. I was already looking toward the beginning of the Nintendo 64, and if I were a little bit older, I might have gotten into to RPGs on the Super Nintendo, like that would have been what would have got me into them. But I missed that, and so it never happened for me. And yeah, now I'm a completely different gamer to where I'm very reluctant to play anything where I don't get to have gameplay for long stretches of time. We were too young to know anything at that point, which is why we were only playing the games that our dad was getting us on the C64 and NES, Claire says, yeah. I can see that by games you stream, but oh well, RPGs are like anything else, not for everyone. Yeah. There are a lot of things about RPGs that I really like. Like, I like the idea of, like, these big grand worlds to explore and stuff. Like, the exploration and the big worlds of RPGs are very intriguing to me. But it's all the like slow bog down of having to read through so much story for them that I can't. It scares me off too much. Went straight from Atari 800 computer to Game Boy. Then Sega Genesis and SNES. Missed the NES entirely until emulation. You hit some other great stuff there, though. NES is probably, like, my favorite console. But that's more coming back to it as an adult than from my experiences with it as a kid, I think. Oh, that punch just ruined me. All I did was give the rat a tremendous boost that I could never hope to make up for. Doing really bad with the turnarounds. StatCat says, I still love them, but the newer ones are pretty hard to stomach because they're so anime. SNES had some great RPGs. N64 didn't have that many, as I recall. Yeah, there's virtually any. And what is there, I think, is largely not very good. That's not my personal opinion, but what I've heard. Like, I don't think a lot of people care for Quest 64 or Aiden Chronicles. It does have Paper Mario, though. You can't at all go wrong with Paper Mario. Alright, let's go. I don't remember how to fight this guy. Yeah, that's a big problem with me too, Dynamite. So turn-based RPGs, yeah, I don't like the menu system. I don't like menu gameplay. That's not it's not really engaging for me. I want one-to-one, like, visceral control over my character. I don't like selecting moves from a menu and then just watching the gameplay itself, essentially. is the way I feel about that too. Only RPG that's good off the top of my head is Paper Mario. Yeah, I think that's the case. Ogre Battle 64 is good. I rented Ogre Battle 64 when I was a kid. I couldn't understand it. I had no idea what it was. I hated it. I thought that was terrible. Again, that's not to speak for the quality of the game. That's a story of me renting it and not being smart enough to figure out what it was and feeling terribly disappointed. But I've always admired the subtitle for that game. It has it is the best subtitle in the existence of any media. Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber. I just love that subtitle. You smoked the rat race? Hey, thank you, Dynamite. We did alright. I made it through. I think I've passed through every level in the game in isolation without a death, except for stage 8 and the final boss. Like, my best deathless run has made it up to stage 7. But on different attempts in isolation, I have beat stage 7 without dying. I beat stage 9 without dying. I beat the rat race without dying. Klinger Winger without dying. And the tower on the last stage without dying. I can make it to the last boss on stage. I've made it to the last boss on stage 8 without dying. To the boss of stage 8 without dying too. But I can't beat that boss, and I can't beat the last boss without a death. So, like, that's another thing. Like, when I talk sometimes about, ooh, do I commit? Do I do the months of training to do a deathless grind of this? Like, it's really far off, but at the same time, like, I have one credit cleared the game before. I have cleared almost all the levels without a death individually, so, like, oh, it would be such a horrible grind. I would be playing this for so many hours. But that's why it's tempting. Yeah, and I'm the exact opposite, Greg, because I don't like the turn-based RPGs, but action RPGs are what, like, if I'm gonna play an RPG at all, an action RPG has the best chance, I think, of, like, me being enthusiastic about it going in. We adore turn-based RPGs, but maybe it's because we're bad at video games, Claire says. So RPGs are one of the few games we can grind our way into being dominant at. Recently played through the Ogre Tactics remake. It was great. Mechanics are still bonkers, though. Alright, so Klinger Winger, I don't know if I can clear. This was the big struggle for me on my first playthrough, and it's always been kind of difficult for me. So we might fail out completely here. I have a really hard time with the feel of getting these turns correct, but yeah, I'm gonna try my best. This is a bad start. Okay, I'm gonna pause between every attempt to like really like reset and try to come into every attempt as fresh as I can. When I was on the grind to beat this for the first time and I was stuck here for hours and hours and hours and I could never get through this. This is one of the few times where I actually suspended the no back seating policy and invited the chat to give me hints and advice. And well, unfortunately, no one was able to tell me anything that was useful. Because I got people in the chat telling me I was turning too early and people telling me I was turning too late, and like would I get an equal amount of feedback, like they cancel each other out. So that wasn't very helpful. The best advice came from Dead Zergling, who told me you can cheese the stage by pausing at the corners and doing your D-pad input changes during the pause. But I refused to use that hint, so that's basically how this level went. I struggled on it for 30 hours, and I finally asked for a hint, and then I refused to use it, because that felt too much like cheating. Hey, Joe Jack, welcome in. Happy Friday to you. We're playing Battletoads. We're on the level that, this level is kind of my kryptonite. Okay, we got a little further. You wanted hints and found out the real strategy the devs wanted you to do was just get good. Well, see, that's the thing is, I didn't want to use the pause trick. That felt too much like cheating for me. I told it. I said like, if that was a trick I discovered on my own, if I hadn't been told that, I probably would have felt proud of it and used it and wouldn't have said that it felt like cheating. But it felt like to be told it and then to employ it. Just I just couldn't do it. I wanted to, because I knew that I'd never be satisfied. I knew I would never be proud of myself clearing it in that way, and I would still want to do it without the cheese, and so I was stubborn and stuck with it. Pause thing helped me learn the course, and then I stopped. No regrets. Yeah, rest your thumb. Frownie's clinger winger zen moment, Claire says. From what I'm reading, the Xbox Series S is a really good emulation machine for the price, StatCat says. Would have never thought to use one of those for it. It's rough. Now that wasn't fair. You see how it the bike struggled there. It got stuck on nothing. I wasn't even turning or anything. That was bad. I don't know. I don't think we're going to make it through here. Is it possible that Battletoad is a mean game for meanies? Does that make me a meanie? I'll never play Battletoads because I sure don't have the patience. It got stuck on nothing again. I don't know if I'm doing something to cause, like, misreads on my D-pad. Maybe the way I'm holding it or something. But if the bike is gonna stutter like that, it should be around corners, not on straightaways when I'm not changing directions. Let's go. Unless I game over and then I have to do it all over again. The last life, I might just. Hey, let's go. Beating up the lollipop. You're mean as in not a wimp. You're a jerk. Oh, okay, last stage. We might be able to make it through this. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have to do the Klinger Winger again. Only the Klinger Winger is a meanie. So, the thing about the Klinger Winger, the thing is that, Claire, you mentioned, Zen. The thing that helped me get through the Klinger Winger for the first time was, like, what changed was I finally succeeded at it when I played with my hands, like, completely relaxed. Where I was barely holding the controller and just like lazily, just no pressure on my thumb and just rolling it on the corners. Because like before I was like focused and trying to like precision snap into place my and like really hit those sharp turns. But the thing is, you don't need to hit them real quick. You need to hit them real slow. At least that's what worked for me. And I think getting that feel of like having my hands like just the right amount of lazy to where I'm hitting the corners real slow but still making them is like a tough feeling to hold on to. But that's what did it in my case. Mode 7. Oh wait, wrong console. The spinning effect on this level is really great. This is a tower that like really kind of requires a little bit of memorization though, and since I haven't played it in so very long, I don't have that memorization. I'm gonna be reacting in real time to everything. Hey Tuesday, welcome in. Mode 6. This effect is mode 6. I don't know what any of the other modes actually are on the SNES. The only one that ever gets any spotlight is mode 7. But there are other modes with various effects, from what I understand. By the way, the enemies spiral down around the tower for no discernible reason. But welcome in Tuesday. If I didn't say it, happy Tuesday to you. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday while the rest of us enjoy our weekend. My very first time beating this game. So, the enemies here, the bubbles that they shoot out, you can break those with the stick, and you get points. So, like, when I game overed on this stage, when you game over, your score goes back to zeros. Up there, it's all 9s right now. It goes back to zeros. And so when I game overed on this stage, I climbed up to this part, and then I stood next to one of these enemies that didn't move, and I hit the bubble again and again and again, just standing in place, grinding grinding my points up because you get a life every 100,000. I spent 20 minutes grinding up my grinding up the lives so that I would have them for the climb here. And I had to do that. I game overed on this stage, even with those all those lives. I game overed on this stage multiple times, and I had to keep redoing that. So for a couple hours, I was stuck here, and a lot of it was spent just popping bubbles for 20 minutes at a time to refill my life counter. The thing about the first night I beat this, though, was that there was all that huge struggle to beat it for the very first time, and when I did, I immediately restarted the game and played it through a second time, and then turned around and beat it, and the second victory was super clean. It was a really good victory. Forever blowing bubbles song was written about your Battletoads exploits. I don't actually know that song. Not by title, anyway. It's always Tuesday when Master Tuesdays, or Master Tuesday lives in a perpetual Tuesday. It's mostly known as an English soccer song. I forgot about this part. I'm amazed that I made it over to that thing in time. No! That's a shame. Alright, well, from the top, aka from the bottom. Tuesday's aura creates a bubble of Tuesday around all who draw near him. It's very warm. It's very warm in my basement right now. I don't know why. Battletoads seeds, all the red hot Battletoads gameplay. I wish I was red hot with Battletoads tonight. I'm feeling a little indigo. What did we end up doing with the water heater? We just ended up going with a new water heater. It's just basically the same thing that we had. To go with something else, we wouldn't have been able to do as immediate of a fix. We would have had to live without hot water for a while, basically. So maybe a maybe another solution in 10 years or so when this one gives out. But we just went with another water heater. Very much like the one that wore out. It was bad. Our old water heater, it was full. It was full of sediment. Like so much so, like I don't think it had been flushed for several years even before we moved in. I think if we had tried to flush it, we wouldn't have even been able to. Because the plumber couldn't drain it. It was so clogged with sediment. Is that Rocksteady's yellow cousin? Batman no death update. Dynamite says 3 deaths, best run so far. Hey, any game that you can 3 death, you can no death. It's only a matter of time. Our new water heater is nice though. It like it's not fancy. It's just a basic water heater, but like we don't have to wait for the water to warm up or anything. Like it is really good. No, we can no death jump king. Well, I mean that's yeah, that's an easy one. Hey Pokemons, welcome in. I'm technically on a no death run of Wario Land 3 too. Take your wins where you can get them. Not bad advice. Not bad advice. I'm at the ER. Nothing serious. Other than Battletoads is on. Okay. This could be a game. This could be a game to put you there. No! Ah! I forgot this guy was coming. I have no idea where he went. I've never had him do that before, like where he goes up off the screen like that. That was just bizarre. Erratic response to Battletoads. This drop here to get from this onto the spring, I'm bad at timing this. Nice. All right. Final boss, let's go. I think that was a no-death run up the tower. I mean, I know I died there before I game overed, but after the continue, I don't remember dying on the tower. I might be wrong. No, I still have 3 lives, and I haven't gotten a 1-up. So yeah, I think that was a no-death run up the tower after the game over. That's pretty nice. You know, considering this is a de-rust run, like that's a pretty big improvement to. Well, I mean, I only had 1 life when I got to the tower, so I only died on it once for that game over to happen. So, you know, maybe it's not that big of an improvement from that point of view, but. You know. And I no-death the boss? I don't think I've ever done that before. Hang on. Hey, that's it. Victory. But quickly, story time. Very first time I beat this game, I defeated that boss. Like you just saw right there, the battle's not over. Like, I did win, but the battle's... Now a cutscene's gonna play. Spoilers. Where the boss comes back up the center of the stage and stands on top of that mountain and then gives her, like, you know, we'll meet again, Battletoad speech or whatever. But anyway, when she comes back up during that cutscene, she still has a hitbox, and if she hits you, you can die. And when I beat her for the very first time, I was on my last life, and I had no health left, and when she came back up, she hit me, and I died, and I game overed. So I had to redo the final battle. Because I got killed in the boss's cutscene. The very first time I beat it. I didn't know. I thought there was a phase 2 or something. I didn't know what was going on. But then when I figured that out. But, yay, GG. We did it. We did it. We can't remember anything, so it was a no-death run to us. Oh, hey. We'll just say you didn't. You did, but we'll just say you didn't. Did I? Did I really? I don't think I died. I think that was last stage deathless. So that makes only 1 stage in this game that I've never done without a death. Stage 8's the only one now that I've never done deathless. If I do that one, then I'll have done each of them in isolation. So there won't be much excuse for me to not practice. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the grind. I want the achievement, though. You can tell. You can tell by how much I talk about it that I want the achievement. I think I just took damage on the green gas man. You might be right, though. I thought I just got knocked down, though. Yeah, I definitely got hit. Check the tapes. I mean, it's not really that important. I know that I've climbed that tower without a death before. And now I've beaten the boss without a death. The boss is actually a separate level from the tower. If you didn't know that, it doesn't show a cutscene in between like it does with every other level. But the boss is actually level 13. Yeah, when I fell on the 4 platforms, that was before the game over. It's all right though. It's all right. I know I've made that tower climb without a death before, and now I've beaten that boss without a death. So even if I didn't do it all together right now, I've done each part. And that's what's actually important to me. So the stage 8 boss is the only part of the game that I haven't done without a death. What a game. What a game this is. I was muted. I don't remember what the last thing I said was. The last thing you might have heard. Let me try and think of everything I just said. Oh, it doesn't really matter if I died during that tower climb, because I know I've climbed the entire tower deathless before. Defeating that boss without dying is a first, and that makes the boss of stage 8 the only thing I've never done without a death. So that's kind of cool. This run was still ugly compared to some of the runs I've had in the past, so we will play Battletoads again next week. If I can fit it on the schedule somewhere, and we're going to continue the things that we're currently working on. Since next week is October, I'm going to start fitting some spooky games onto the schedule. They may not necessarily be every night, but they'll probably be a lot of nights. We'll have something spooky. That's going to be at the start of the stream. So while we are going to continue doing Battletoads, Batman and Robin, Jump King, Tears of the Kingdom, and probably Time Tunnel. Oh, and Wario, we're still working on that too. We're going to continue doing those things, but they'll be for smaller sections, and they'll probably be in the second half of the stream each night. whatever spooky thing we're doing. Whenever we do like a little marathon or a themed event, it always takes place in the first part of the stream. So the things we're currently doing are going to be pushed to the second half of each night. And I know that's inconvenient for some people, but when we have something themed going on, I like to keep them together, which means keeping them all in the same half of the stream, and the first half of the stream makes more sense for me. But anyway, we're not done for tonight. We still have Time Tunnel to work on, so we're gonna get switched over. This is a clunky process, and actually, I think I'll take a little BRB. Let me step away a moment. I'll try and do some of the sausage making while the BRB is happening. So thank you for being here for Battletoads with me. Thank you for sticking with me. I didn't know if we were gonna be able to beat it tonight, so I'm happy that we made it to the credits, even if it was kind of an uglier run, you know, compared to what I've done before. We will play it again soon, hopefully next week, and see if we can keep polishing it up just a little bit, because I'd like to get back to where I'm doing 1 credit clears without a whole lot of without a whole lot of lives lost. At least get back to that, you know, get back into fighting shape there. But yeah, let me take a BRB. And when I get back, it's going to be all Time Tunnel for the rest of the night. I'll see you again shortly.